been a good person and done good things most of my life, so I think I only have good karmas. Is that enough to get into heaven? And do you believe in heaven or hell or the devil?
Well, so let me unpack that. Let me start with the last first. No, I do not believe in the devil. This is a very strange concept and notion, and also a ridiculous one. If we have challenges, difficulties in life, hardships, it's only due to our own power. It's only due to the karmas that we create. There's nothing to fear. There is no devil to fear. There are no demons to fear. In our sacred text, there are references to the Rakshasas, demons. There are demon realms, but these are just disembodied people who are suffering their karmas because they made decisions to perform evil. So the label demon is just a reference to, it can be a reference to an animal or another human being who has made the decision to perform evil deeds, to be evil, to be wicked. But they're all beings, and all beings are God. Some turn away from their God nature. So there are no devils, except the ones we create for ourselves, except the demons we create for ourselves. And demonology and stories, which are part of our sacred texts, are there as educational stories for us to understand that they're the outer depiction of our own inner demons that we've created, because we create our own karmas. So that brings me to the next. So there are no devils, no demons, no ghosts roaming around the dark, waiting to take you down. Nobody in the way of your progress but you. You are your only challenge. You are your only deterrent. You are your only obstacle. And this must be understood by way of the karmas that you have created for so many past lives and this present life. So the second part, heaven and hell, yes, these are real realms, but they're not the final abode. And so in spiritual life, you know, we know in the mundane world there are many religious traditions and spiritual traditions where they say the goal is to go to heaven. Heaven is a realm in which many worldly pleasures are magnified. Also, you cannot go to heaven with a body, with a physical body. There are realms for which you cannot enter with a physical body. You go there with your subtle body. Heaven is one of those realms. Heaven is another one of those realms. That you cannot take a physical body to those places. You go there when you drop your physical body, which is what we call death, which is a misunderstood and misappropriated label. It's just leaving the body, leaving the nest, and then subtly, your subtle body, all of the impressions left behind on your mind, all of your karmic impressions, the world of your inner impressions, we call them, are contained in your subtle body. That's what leaves your physical body when they say you die. You don't die. The subtle body and your God power leaves the physical body. Now the physical body has no agency because it has no power of its own. And now your subtle body, dependent upon your karmas, travels to other realms. Dependent upon your karmas, and everyone who's not yet God realized visits the realm called hell for a short period of time. Everyone goes to hell first, because there are karmas that can only be adjudicated, so to speak, in the realm of hell. And then if you have other karmas, then you move on to other realms. Heaven may or may not be one of them. Heaven, again, is a real realm. You cannot go there with a physical body. There are many, many pleasures. If you think of any worldly pleasure that you think is really great and magnify that by 2,000 or 3,000 times, that's heaven. And it does exist, and it's a real realm where people are roaming about in their subtle bodies. However, when you exhaust your karmas that took you to heaven and hell, you return here. This is why Earth is known as the love planet. It is the planet where people come and assume forms again and again to complete their karmas. So karma is at the root of all of this. And there are no good karmas. and there are no bad karmas. This term, good karmas, is a manifestation of the ego. It's the ego that tells you and me and everyone else that some things are pleasurable and other things are painful, that some things are comfortable and other things are uncomfortable, that some things should be embraced and other things should be avoided. This is all within the realm of duality. Heaven and hell also exist within the realm of duality. True spiritual paths are designed to take us beyond duality. So if you really want lasting happiness that is not dependent upon anything outside yourself, to be able to be happy regardless of any circumstance or situation you find yourself in, or any relationship you find yourself in, if you want to experience a permanent state of uninterrupted joy that is not dependent upon any outer situation or circumstance or any relationship you find yourself in, if you want peace and content that are always there regardless of life circumstances, then your focus should not be to go to heaven, because once your karmas that take you to heaven are exhausted, you've got to return here. Your focus should be to go to the true paradise, which is the self, the supreme self, to dwell in your God nature permanently, which we call self-realization or God realization. In other words, to merge in your true identity as God. That's beyond heaven. That is a realm that's beyond heaven and hell, and it's the only permanent place to reside. And that only happens when, by way of your completing all your karmas, or by way of your karmas being burned by the grace-bestowing power that's inherent in a lineage of siddhas, or a combination of both. The only way to reside in your God nature permanently is when all of your karmas are gone, either because they've been exhausted through direct experience, worked out, or because they've been burned away, or some combination of both. The goal of any true spiritual path is God realization, and God realization has nothing to do with heaven, because it's an abode that's so much greater. In heaven, the beings in their subtle forms experience sorrow, suffering, as well as ecstasy, as well as pleasure. They're bounced back and forth between duality. The only difference between heaven and here is that the pleasures are magnified, and you're not in a body in heaven. So what? Have you had nightmares?
Yes.
While you're asleep, while the body's asleep, you have nightmares. Well, that's like heaven and hell. So what's the difference? The only difference is that you're not aware that you're moving around in your body. Otherwise, the suffering is the same. So why desire to go there? Why not desire to be eternally free? Because God is eternally free, devoid of all karmas. And this is a state that anyone can come to reside in on a permanent basis. But it takes the understanding and wisdom of the sages of steady wisdom in our Siddha science to first understand this, and then to be able to test in the laboratory of your own existence with respect to your experience. Namah Shivaya.